Hi, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. And today we're in my kitchen again. I've had several people on my channel that were interested in seeing how I make the homemade dog food that I make for Jade. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. Now, when I Googled it and just basically found out the main ingredients, but you can add to it any way that you want. Like if your dog likes sweet potatoes, you can add sweet potatoes to it or anything else that your dog really likes. I've kind of tweaked it and found the things that I know that Jade will eat. Now, the last time that I made it, I did a icebox clean out and kind of got leftovers and put them in it. And that's kind of what I did today. Digging around the back of my icebox, I found some turkey legs, drumsticks that I didn't realize I had. So I boiled them up, and when they cooled, I picked all the meat off the bones, and I'm going to use some of that along with it. But let me show you the ingredients that I put in regular, and then I'll take you over to the stove and get started making it. This right here, this is the ground turkey. That's the base of the dog food. When I Googled it online, most of the recipes that I looked at, they used ground turkey. This is about maybe 1.5 pounds ground turkey. And then over here, these are like the regular ingredients that I use. It calls for rosemary's. I don't know why, but I put a little bit of rosemary's in the meat this is cooking. These are pork patties. They were like little sausage patties that I cut up, pre-cooked. This right here is the bouillon cubes that I put in hot water and dissolve to make the broth. This is the drumsticks that I boiled and picked the meat off the bones to put in there. I'm going to use that. And then on the frozen things, the recipe calls for peas and carrots and California blend, which is cauliflower, broccoli, and carrots. So it'll have carrots in there twice. You could also slice up regular carrots and put in there too if you wanted. And then I also add a little bit of spinach in there. And then today, another thing that I'm adding into it, if you can see it right here, this here is the broth that was left over from the drumsticks, and I got to looking at it. This right here will be really excellent to put in there. That way it's not wasted and it goes in with her meat and stuff. And then there's one more ingredient. Let me take you over to the stove and show you that. And the last ingredient here, this is the brown rice. Now, as I said, I don't measure anything. I just kind of eyeball it. So I make more rice than I do anything because that's kind of like a good filler. And Jade likes it. She'll eat it because it's got that broth flavoring. So what I've had to do ahead of time is cook the rice up because it takes 45 minutes for this stuff to cook. Then after it gets cooked, I just set it aside and then I add it to it. So I'm going to set my camera down and get started on it. I've got a burner turned on over here so that you can watch everything I'm doing. And the first thing is that we cook the turkey that's not cooked, the raw turkey. And you just break it up and cook it till it's brown. And then I'm going to add the rosemary stems or seeds or whatever that is. I'm going to add some of them in there too, once it gets cooked a little bit. And you can add... you could use hamburger meat. You can add tuna fish. I saw one guy put sardines in there. You can add canned chicken. You know, if you've got that. You can boil a chicken and use it. You could boil like chicken leg quarters and pick some meat off them and use that. Just any kind of meat really will work. But the recipes that I saw, turkey was the main thing that they all used, they had in common. So that's why I'm going ahead and using all the turkey for the base, and then I add the other meats as I find them in my icebox. Person asked me if I thought that this was comparative to buying dog food. And in my opinion, it's not. In my opinion, this is way more expensive to make than to buy regular dog food for your dog. But I feel like it's a healthy thing for her to have. And her being such a little dog, it's not like I have to have a whole lot of it to feed her. When I make this batch up, it'll probably last her at least 2 weeks, if not longer. Then I'm going to add some of the rosemaries, and I usually just pick out a little bit and kind of crunch it up and sprinkle it over the meat as it's cooking. That way it kind of steams into it. I think it's just like for a little bit of flavoring. So I add that to it. And then I just keep cooking and stirring this till it gets brown and no more pink. So I'll come back and show you that when I get to that stage. Okay, the turkey meat is no longer pink, as you can see. And I found that this turkey doesn't make a lot of grease, so I just leave that in there. Because when I add this rice to it, it's going to absorb that. Now I'm going to add the vegetables. And the way I do the vegetables, I don't thaw them out. I just throw everything in there frozen and I put a lid on it after I get everything in there, and I kind of turn the heat down and let it simmer. And then it'll thaw out anything that's frozen that I put in it. That's the spinach. And as I said, I don't measure anything. I just kind of eyeball everything. This is the peas and carrots that I'm putting in here now. This is a good way to get your dog to eat her veggies. And now I'm going to add these pork patties. Just kind of blend everything. See that grease has already started to absorb. Now I'm going to add my bouillon cubes that I've dissolved in water. And they'll finish melting whenever they're in the thing with the lid on it. So just kind of stir this around. I'm going to put the lid on it now so that this can kind of be melting a little bit. I've got some more ingredients that I'm going to be adding to it. Now in this California blend, I've discovered that it comes in bigger chunks than what I like to put in there. So I usually chop it up, till it's smaller. And then that goes in there frozen along with everything else. Just keep stirring till that stuff gets nice and melted. I never put onions in there because onions are toxic to dogs. In case y'all are saying, well, there's no onions in there. That's a good vegetable. Onions are very toxic to dogs. So is chocolate. So I never put onions in there. Turn the heat down just a little bit. At this point, I generally just want it to simmer. Now the turkey legs that I cooked, that meat is already cooked. So I usually add it towards the end of the cooking because it doesn't have to be in there as long. So this is it. I'm going to go ahead and put it in there. I have room on my stove. I'm going to go ahead and add this. She's going to have a lot of meat in this dish. Now, the one that I made before this, she actually had 4 kinds of meat in it. Because like I said, I cleaned out my ice box. Got a bunch of leftover stuff and just threw it all in there. So she actually had 4 meats in there. And it worked out really good. She enjoyed it. Now I'm going to add some of that turkey broth that was left over from the turkey legs. I don't know that I'm going to use all of this. But this will be good to help to soak up the rice. Yeah, I think I will go ahead and use all of it. Jade's saying, I'm ready for my food, Mama. Now I'm going to let this soak just a little bit. When it starts to come back up to a slight boil, then I will add my rice. So I'm going to put the lid back on it and let it simmer. Okay, we're ready for the last step. It's simmering just a little bit. Now we're going to add the rice to it. It's almost like I need another pan. I think this is the biggest amount that I've ever made. Now I just get this to go down underneath the broth, and then we put the lid on it again and let it simmer till it's all blended together really good. And some of the water is absorbed out, some of the broth. Then I let it cool down and I put it in the bowls to put it in the freezer to save for her to have on her meals. And since I've been making this, I feed Jade twice a day. She eats at 7 in the morning and 5 in the afternoon, and she gets 3/4 of a cup. Because I looked online and they said for a full-grown miniature dachshund, 1/2 to 3/4 cups is all they need. So that's what I've been giving her. So we're going to put the lid on this, and I'm going to let it finish simmering. Then when it cools down, and I get ready to put it in the containers, I'll do a taste test with my little helper here, and y'all can see how she likes it. So thank you guys, and I will see you in a little bit. Hello, and I'm back, and the dog food has cooked and cooled down. Now, there is quite a bit of broth to it, but that's okay because Jade will eat it with the broth. And so these are the dishes that I got at the Dollar Tree. And what I do is I fill these up just as high as I can get them. And I even put a lot of broth in there. Let them cool down. And we're going to, just like this. Like I said, each of these little tubs will last her like 3 days. So what I'm fixing to do, I'm not going to go ahead and fill up every bowl while y'all are waiting. I'm going to go ahead and get a little sample for her and let you guys see how she likes it. Because it is 5 o'clock. And this is the measuring cup that I feed her with. So just get in here, I'll stir it around. Maybe get a little broth first, if she likes that. And then get her some of the food. It doesn't matter what kind I get, she will eat it. She likes it. Okay, that's pretty good. And this is her little food dish. We'll put it in there. I hope it's cooled down enough for her to eat it. Okay. I'm going to move it down here where y'all can see, hopefully, where she, let's see, maybe if I do it like this, you guys will be able to see her eat it. Okay, Jade, get over there and eat your food. She's checking out the camera. She's like, what is that thing that's watching me eat? I think it's still a little bit too hot for her to finish. That's probably why she's not digging in. 'Cause she likes it. She does eat it, but it's probably still just a tad bit warm. Is it too warm for you? Too hot for you to finish? Okay, I guess I'll have to let it cool down a little bit and then bring you guys back. Okay, now I will show you the final results. If I can find it. Where is it? Well, I'm trying to show you her bowl. Completely empty. Maybe, I don't know if that's showing you her bowl or not. Here's her bowl. I mean, she licks every drop out of it. She loves it so much. So that's it for this video. Thank you guys for coming and watching. Learn how to make my dog's food. Y'all come back and see me any old time. Bye for this one.